Welcome back to SA Today. As promised, I do have now to further deliberate on the U.S. threats on Greenland. I do have with us Professor David Monyae, who's the Associate Professor of Political Science and International Relations at the University of Johannesburg. Prof, compliments to you. Thank you so much for being with us today. So just at the back of what a correspondent has just communicated in terms of the U.S.'s stance on these proposed moves, what is your general assessment on this impasse? Can Donald Trump just wake up and decide to attack or invade sovereign countries? Under what international law provisions or acts does he usurp such authority?
I think there are a number of things that we need to be quite clear. One, this is no longer just threats. These are real things that Donald Trump will certainly do based on what happened a few days ago in Venezuela and his utterance. And this is also clearly stipulated within the national strategy that was ushered in December, in which it is quite clear that the United States wants to reset its foreign policy, doing away with your NATO, moving on, not having hamstrung by international law, as well as international organizations such as United Nations. And he's going to move unilaterally and do what they see as necessary, which is the Monroe Doctrine, pushing all other actors from Latin America, as well as moving in on core issues, what they call peace through strength, dealing with Iran, dealing with all the wishes of resetting the U.S. hegemony in the world.
Very interesting that you mention the Monroe Doctrine there, Prof, because the fact is Trump and his administration have in fact stretched their threats far and wide since the strike in Venezuela. We hear they've since now issued warnings to other governments like Mexico, threatening to bomb out the drug cartels once and for all, and even Colombia and even to Cuba. What are the possible implications of these actions then, do you think, Prof, should they, of course, become a reality?
There are a number of implications. I think, firstly, domestically within the U.S. itself, I think we see the tensions, not only over ICE in terms of pushing undocumented people out of the U.S. Using force, which has resulted in the death of Americans and non-foreign nationals within the U.S., and tension politically within the U.S. itself. His fights with Congress, I think it's coming. There are tensions over the powers which he is not supposed to wage any war or wars without authorization by the Congress. So in this case, he's moving on. He has an upper hand because if you look back from Clinton to Obama to Biden, I think they have been using certain powers that the president has in terms of waging a war and then report to Congress. And I think there are loopholes within the Constitution itself. So these are things to watch. But globally, there's absolutely nothing that the world will do. We're entering a new era that South Africa and the African continent must prepare in dealing with the impact that is going to have in terms of disruption on trade, costs to trade, as well as instability that is these moves will cause.
So what's the point then of international law if some cannot abide by it, Professor? But with Greenland specifically, Trump said it was a strategic, as of course it currently it's covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over, adding that they need its takeover for a national security perspective. But what type of reasoning is that, though, Professor? Are we back to prehistoric practices of conquering nations as a means to assert power for your own nation?
Indeed, and he has made it quite clear that's the case. He's dismissing Denmark's claim on Greenland. I think he's moving that U.S. fear of China and Russia over Greenland and missiles. And therefore, I think he wants to move there. And as was the case with Venezuela, that the issue of drug cartels was used as a pretext. I think in this case, Russia and China is used as a case in terms of covering the core issues why he wants Greenland. I think it has to do with minerals, Greenland has rare earth and quite a number of other strategic minerals that he wants to have a hold on, and without really going through Denmark.
And then what would be his profound interest then in the order of, to kill the protesters in Iran that, of course, are protesting against what they say is clerical rule, Professor?
Iran is going to bring quite serious implication, not just on the United States, the entire Middle East, as well as Africa. It's not going to be an easy. Iran is not Venezuela, nor is it Greenland or any other country. I think we've seen with the previous war between Iran and Israel, that it's a formidable state, and therefore I think casualties will be more in Iran itself and in the region. I think it's going to be a bloody war with a huge implication. And fear that whether chemical weapons or any other dangerous weapons are going to be used by either Israel or Iran itself. This is taking place while within BRICS ambit, South Africa is having this naval exercise taking place as we speak. I think there is a need for South African government to explain absolutely nothing wrong in South Africa having this exercise with Iran. Does not mean that South Africa embraces what's happening or the Iranian government in terms of its policy. I think it's a question of being quite clear, explaining, because this is a fast-moving event. We don't know when we wake up tomorrow what would have happened.
Yeah, this is quite concerning there, Professor. But thank you so much for bringing us even more shock into these realities. That is Professor David Monyae, who's an international relations analyst on the U.S. threats there on Greenland, as well as the situation that is currently unfolding out in Iran.